hinder my choices of it. It doesn't hinder my decision on whether I want to play a game or not just because there's a social aspect or not.
Personally, I found that I've seen in a few games that they're like trying to, I don't know how long it's been going on, they're trying to get me to connect Facebook to the game and bring like my real life friends inside the game, and I don't have any friends that like the games I like to play. I want to meet people from the game and not necessarily carry them out of the game into real life. It's kind of separate for me.
Yeah, some games are doing definitely more things that are focusing more on the social aspect. I haven't seen it all too much in like AAA or stuff like that, but I have seen it, and I'm thinking, God, it's only an option right now. Because that'd be annoying if like you're playing a game that you're really excited to play, then whenever you get on, it's like log into your Facebook first, and it's like really? That'd just be really dumb. But if it's an option, that might be fine. Or that'll most likely be fine as long as it's kept as an option.
Have you gotten many invitations from real life friends or
Um,
connections? Or
Not through Facebook, no. I actually
or
don't
whichever,
do.
not necessarily through Facebook, but through like, you know, people that you meet every day, people that you see every day.
Just random people I meet.
Yeah.
No, because I don't go around telling people my online alias unless they ask for it, and I have a good enough reason to tell them. So I normally don't get random invites from random people. I do get invites from people online every now and then. Like, say I play with someone online, some random games at some point, and then suddenly I get like a friend request in the game from that person I was playing with. Most of the time,
But the
I'll
friendship is
decline.
limited to the game, you know?
Yeah, the friendship is then limited to the game, and a lot of times, especially if I didn't talk to them in the game, I'll decline it because there's no reason for us to. There's usually not a benefit unless the game gives you benefits for having more friends. There's usually not a benefit to accepting.
Because I don't think it's gonna stick at all. What if, you know, five, six real life friends play a game and they lose? If they start losing, man, I promise you they're gonna fucking hate each other in real life. It could break some nice friendships.
I haven't had that experience yet,
Just like real life
but then
sports.
again, none of me, not me, or none of my friends really take video games like competitively or seriously, so we wouldn't break friendships with it. But I guess I could see it as if six friends are super competitive about a game and they go into a game together, I can see if they're like way too serious about the game, it could start hurting friendships.
I believe so. I really believe so.
But I don't believe you'd be like true friends if you played a game and they
Well,
see
that's
you
a
losing your
test.
friendship.
There's the test. I mean, we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Get ready. This is it. Okay. You know, it's like almost like the video game makers are like, you know what? There's a bunch of kids, you know, adolescents that go to school together every day. Let's put their friendship to the test. You know, let's really put them through it.
Valuable life lesson, that's what it is.
Let's charm them. Let's make the idea of playing a game together really appealing, and see if they come to blows in real life.
Yeah. Realize that maybe they weren't the greatest of friends to begin with.
Which would be to me completely contrary to, well, let's find a way to sell more video games. That's not gonna sell. That's not gonna be a selling point in the future.
Yeah.
Lose your real life friends by playing our game. And I remember thinking with World of Warcraft that the monthly fee was like, oh man, I don't want to pay. It was ridiculous because it's not that expensive, If with the job I had, I could just do 1 day of overtime per year and have my whole 12 months paid off. But just the fact that, gosh darn, I have to pay $15 per month put me off. I delayed playing World of Warcraft for years because of that.
Right. And subscription-based games that where you have to pay a subscription to play it, I don't necessarily agree with. I try to stay away from games where I have to pay monthly to play a game. So that's one of the reasons I don't play some MMOs is because they use subscriptions to make you play. Or not make you play, but allow you to play.
Although
That's my
I can see that free-to-play games will attract some trolls very often, and that really spoils the game.
well, even subscription-based games, it attracts trolls as well.
It does. They do.
It's not a matter of price. It's a matter of because some people don't mind spending that money at all, and just because that's just where they are, and they'll get into the game and they'll troll. So it doesn't really make a difference whether it's free or not. Sure, maybe free will allow more access, but how should I explain this? But yeah, there being a paywall there with subscription isn't really gonna ward away bad people,
How much
especially the
uh,
people that really want to do it.
how much influence do you think companies should have inside the game to where there are like community or communication like League of Legends or World of Warcraft, or how much involvement do you think the company should have or
Well, it it depends on certain games. If it's a game that's like it's just co-op, there's no like actual competitive PvP. Maybe there's competitive like co-op where like you and whoever get together with like do missions and stuff, and there's actually like I don't know, like it's hard. And there's like a leaderboard for that. But like that maybe not if there's a chat that doesn't need to be like regulated. But if it's something like League, that should definitely be regulated because from what I've seen, it can get pretty rancid, and there has to be some sort of control so that there aren't people completely harassing other players.
has
But
it
of
ever?
course,
Yeah.
hmm? But of course, you can't have complete control over that. It's just not possible.
How much has it ever bothered you before in the past in some games, or
Like if I've ever been
do you remember
bothered by
thinking,
anything,
"Oh my God, this game is full of trolls. I'm gonna stay away," or
I haven't thought much about that in games, honestly. It's usually games, like the only games I get frustrated at, especially whenever it comes to other players, is usually the competitive, like first person shooter games, like, I don't know, Call of Duty or Counter Strike. I just can't get into those games. And it's usually not me being frustrated at the players, because if I'm frustrated at what they're saying to me, I'll just mute them all. Um, because that's an option. Um, Usually. But I end up getting more frustrated at the game itself.
and in the future, what type of games or what would you like the future of gaming to look like? What would you like to? What kind of games would you like to see? Do you want more of the same, or do you want some really new stuff, or a new
I'd like,
direction, or a new?
hmm,
You want some
I'd like
difference,
there,
or?
yeah, I always want there to be some difference. Though that doesn't mean I want everything to be different. I do want some things to stay. Um, so you can, but obviously never make the same game twice. Call of Duty is an example. That's just horrible. But,
Okay. I don't. What is it about Call
but
of Duty? I have no idea. I've never played the game. I've seen it like 5 minutes
there's
here and there, but what happened?
literally every game is the exact same formula. It's forced competitive multiplayer, and which not in it's in itself isn't a bad thing, but the way it handles it, like originally it had like story, and then they got rid of the story or made it less important, so it was all about multiplayer, which still isn't as bad as it could be. But the problem is they weren't intuitive about it. They made their first iteration of the game. Then they made the second. It was pretty much almost exactly the same as the first. It was just in a different setting. And then they made like 4 or 5 more that were in the same setting, and it was the exact same game, just like updated graphics and better like responsive controls or whatever. And then like once it started hitting like World at War and further, the formula of the game never changed. Sure, Black Ops 3, you're able to do like some parkour, but they basically ripped that off of like Titanfall, and it's nothing new. Like they don't bring anything new to the table. So every time you buy one of their games, you're basically buying the same game.
Wow.
And that's what I mean by I want things to be different in the future. I don't want games to be repeated over and over. I want there to be changes. Um, but at the same time, I don't want you to have to change everything. I don't want you to have to create an entirely new game every single time. You can bring over old things. You can bring over old mechanics. You can bring over like you can keep going with certain trends that have been used before, but make sure you add your own new twist to it. Make it new and interesting and unique. That's that's where I want to see the future of video games going. I don't want it to be the same thing over and over again, but at the same time, I don't want to see us losing what's we've been doing, if any of that made sense.
And is there any feature that stands out for you that you would like to see more of, or that needs to be that is essential to you?
Um, there has to be a sense of balance. Like single player games, this doesn't really go towards much, but definitely in multiplayer there has to be a balance. And I've been seeing recently that games are forgetting to balance things. Like there's a lot of games within the months that have been released that I've gotten my hands a hold of, gotten a hold of. There we go, and played and realized that it wasn't fun because they're not like focusing on the balance of the game anymore. The games have to feel like they're fair, and that's
Give an
one thing that
example.
I.
Give an example.
Oh God, I'm about to give the same example as before. Call of Duty.
Okay.
In they've never had really good balance, but they've had all right balance. But after I'd say Modern Warfare 2 and like Black Ops 1-ish area, which was like 5 or 6 years ago, yeah, 4 or 5 or ish years ago, their new games there's always been those guns or weapons in the game that like no matter what, if you use it, you're winning, kind of thing.
Okay.
And I'm a big buff about things being fair and skill oriented. So that's something that I'd like to see being brought into the future is that putting so much quality into the game where like nothing's truly unfair. Because like in Call of Duty, like there's I can't remember. I think Black Ops 3. There's this shotgun that